you on that. Have you ever like experienced through a medical professional or practitioner, have has the advice or the therapy that you've gotten been a little culturally insensitive and or not exactly geared towards your culture, is kind of more generalized, and how could that kind of change in the future?
Okay, to start off, I haven't like been to like any medical professional or no medical professional or any person of the practice like that to discuss any of my issues or anything like that. Um, yeah, and that's just a big thing within, especially the people of color community, BIPOC. Uh, we don't believe in it. So for just a point blank, we just don't believe in it. But honestly, it's gotten way better last few years. I've seen like, and I've spoken to a lot of friends, a lot of acquaintances, business partners, and all that have actually tried and went out their way to go to therapists and things, psychologists and things of the sort, in order to figure out what's going on in the deep rooted issues or concerns that they're having with themselves. And I've heard from them, it's been like a really great experience because they went into things they didn't, as like BIPOC, we don't, as we're your story and my story, we don't, and other people's story, we do not express what we're going through at all, right? Yeah. At all, right? But the fact that like there's a few individuals that came to me and told me that it was an amazing experience. They went there and they didn't even know that they, for like one way or another, they just started pouring out, crying and everything. I just said, "Whoa, really?" And these are individuals that I see as people that do not talk about anything to anybody. So I was just shocked. I was just like, "Whoa." But I was happy at the same time. I was like, okay, so it's working. So this is something. I think we just need a few success stories for it to become normalized, right? For people to say, for BIPOC to say, okay, this is working. They help her, because I seen a whole 180 shift from what she went through and from where she was and where she is now, right? So I do feel it's a good and amazing practice. I personally have not tried it yet, and I haven't gone like and spoke with any therapist or psychologist or any of the sort yet. But I do feel it's an amazing thing to do, and it is something that like society is trying to gear towards more of BIPOC, whether it be indigenous, Black people, people of color, and things like that. They're trying. I think they are trying, but it is going at a slow, like a kind of a slow rate, where it's like few to few to a dozen of actual people of color that are in that field or in that practice. Yeah. That's what I feel it is. Like it more often than not, it's always a white person or Caucasian individual that's you're speaking to, but it's such a disconnect because you're just looking around. How are you gonna know what I went through? Because you did not experience this, you did not know what I went through. You don't have this color, things like that. So it's just, even if you won't think it when you're in the situation, it's a subconscious thing in the back of your mind, or you could be like, oh, but like I went through this, and then how can you really understand this or that or this, So definitely, I feel that things are coming up in the sense that they're really trying to incorporate and gear their services and things like that towards the Black community, or people of color community and things like that. So but for ways that they could do it, they just are the main factor. The main thing they really need to do is just get people of color within those fields, within those. I don't know if they wear lab coats, but yeah, in those lab coats or something like that, right? So people can feel comfortable and at home. That's the main fact. That's the main thing you want. Clients want to feel. They want to feel at home, understood. They want to feel that they can speak to this person and relate. And that's the one thing that's missing, relation. So yeah, I would say.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that. I think that we do need more people in the field, because how else am I supposed to feel comfortable talking to a therapist
Mhm.
knowing that this person doesn't actually know my culture like that.
Right.
I have spoken to a psychiatrist and therapist in the past. Again, it was kept very hush hush, so nobody needs to, nobody in the family knows, because God forbid
Right.
we do that. But
Yeah, God forbid.
honestly, but I
Right.
very quickly that when I loved the therapist. She helped me through a lot of things.
Mhm.
The little disclaimer: this is nothing against her. But I remember whenever I would go to her,
Mhm.
whenever I would go to my appointments, there was things that I would say where I would talk about my home life, which wasn't that terrible, to be honest. It wasn't. There was nothing wrong with it. Or I would talk about, oh, this is how I'm feeling, and I don't know if I can get this kind of help at home, etc., etc. And she told me to move out, and I had to explain to her that is not possible.
Not easy.
My culture,
Yeah.
like you want to move out, you can move out. There's lots of people from my culture that move out, no big deal. But traditionally in my culture, it's you're kind of with the parents until you find a partner, until you find
Yep.
that you're financially stable enough to move out and you want to move out, or you have a partner and you move out with your partner. Like if I found a very full-time permanent job, I'm down. I can move out. No, nobody's stopping me from moving out. But until that happens, I am at home, and that's just how my culture is. You stay at home. Nobody says anything.
Yep.
It's not bad. It's just how it is. But it took me a while to explain that. And she was like, "Yeah, but you can get assistance from like the government." And I was like, "That's not the point here. I'm like, this is just not how it is."
If only.
If only.
Right.
But I feel like little things like that. I remember feeling a little bit weird about my culture, and I had no reason to. But in that moment, and it's not like she said anything that made me feel like that. She was just, that was what her first go-to was why don't you just move out? And that works for a lot of people. But I would have loved to hear an alternative to, like, hey, if you can't move out, maybe you could try this, maybe you could try that. I do think, one, like you said, it has a lot to do with the fact that our communities don't talk about this stuff, so it's not publicized how we can be helped. How are people supposed to learn about how to help a person of color if the people of color won't speak out and tell them how to help them? Does that make sense? I feel like I said a lot of words. Like
I get it.
it's just a lot of it does have to do with the fact that we don't come out and say that, hey, this is how we can be helped, or even talk about anything to do with mental health. That's a very hush hush topic. There's so much stigma around it. And the other is that we do need a lot more professionals of color in the profession, in the mental health field, whether it be a psychiatrist, a psychotherapist, a regular therapist, a social worker. Let's see some color there. Let's see some different experiences, some different stories come into it. People of all races, of all cultures, can be helped.
Right. I agree with that, definitely.
It's but it has gotten better over the past little while, the past like 4 or 5 years even. There's some change.
Yeah.
Hoping that it continues changing.
Some change, but
we need a
more
lot.
Progression is needed.
Yeah, definitely.
Exactly. Yep.
If you want to hear more stories, don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like. To support more youth by youth led projects, visit us at youthspeak.ca, where you can donate and spread youth mental health awareness.
YouthSpeak Performance Charity. Speak, inspire, change.